Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show.
Good evening.
Today, we will be talking about something very different. I'm Mark, by the way.
I'm Britton.
And today, we're talking about the first season of the show Fringe.
Fringe, a Fox show, scientific in nature, akin to that of the X-Files, I think came out around 2008.
2008 was its first year. And, well, we got a lot to talk about, so let's just get started and we'll talk about it. Now, I want to kind of break this down maybe into like three facets, before we go off on our tangents that we usually do.
Yeah.
There is going to be probably some spoilers here. I don't know if we're going to go into everything.
Yeah.
But if you just started watching the first season of Fringe for some reason, or if you're somewhat interested to jump in here and you don't want to be spoiled by it, maybe just skip ahead about 10 minutes. I'm sure we'll be on something else by then. But I kind of want to break this down maybe into three different subjects, which is one, the show as a whole itself, as a all the pieces kind of together. Number two, maybe the actors. Actually, I do want to talk about the actors a little bit and things of that nature. If you have any, you can throw them out there too. And maybe number three, maybe I'll talk a little bit of how we started watching it and like kind of what mine and your reaction is to it.
And maybe no, I think that about covers it.
Okay, so we'll start with just basically the show as an overview itself before we get into more nitty-gritty things like the characters. Do you want to talk a little bit about, maybe give a broad overview of what the show is about?
So the show is about a character a woman named Olivia Dunham, and she is she is a part of a task force in the FBI where called the Fringe Division, where a lot of the weird stuff that can't be explained is given to. Basically,
like weird science shit. Like, it's still within the realm of possibility, but it's kind of just outside the realm of plausibility.
Yeah.
Weird things like I'm not going to say aliens or anything like that. I don't think
they haven't had aliens yet.
I can tell you this much: we're as the time of this recording, we are in the middle of season 2, and I've never seen any of this show, and I think Britton's seen up to season 2, so I don't know if the show does go in the X-Files route with aliens.
I hope not.
But I think that unless it's done well. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But I do hope not also. But the areas of science they deal with are more like teleportation or
like in the perversion of the natural sciences type deal.
So anyway, continue if you want to keep on going on about broad overviews.
So she is brought along on this team by a character named Agent Broyles, who is the most no-nonsense character in the show. He is probably one of my favorite because he is a granite statue, unmovable man.
I agree. I'm going to talk about him when we get into the character stuff, but I definitely agree with you that he is... it's really hard to talk about favorites in this show because there's really a lot of great characters, but he is definitely a character I look forward to every week.
And then in order to kind of solve a lot of these mysteries, they bring on some other eccentric characters that we'll get into a little bit later in order to solve these mysteries, and there's a lot of things connecting them together, which Broyles reveals a little bit maybe pretty... It's pretty early on that he reveals it in the series.
Yeah, I think the first episode they talk about the
pattern.
The pattern, the very first episode, but... basically it is a very procedural show to a point, because a lot of the episodes are kind of like episode of the week kind of things. Like, oh no, we have a guy having problems with his head. We have a guy turning into glass or something. Just weird shit. And Then they go on and solve the mystery of what's going on. But at the same time, usually each episode or most episodes kind of push the story forward a little bit of this overall arc. And at the end of the first season, even though the show doesn't get wrapped up, obviously, because there's more seasons, the biggest arc of season 1 kind of does. And it also opens the door to for the next season.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to reveal that because that is such a great spoiler. It's such a great moment of the show that I do not want to deprive anybody of that moment. It is the biggest holy shit moment I think I've ever had watching television.
You were yelling at the TV.
I was so excited about, I can't believe they did something like that. But of course, everyone's going to be listening and be like, all right, well, now I got to watch it to see what the hell this guy's yammering on about.
Yeah, and I still think it holds up in terms of a reveal. But it's I genuinely enjoyed it.
Yeah, the first season, the main I guess arc, because I'm going to talk a little bit about the arc is they get this brilliant scientist out of the first episode. They check him out of a mental institution where he's been for 17 years, and they clean him up and everything, and he's pretty much this was an era of the tortured genius on television shows like House or the guy from Lie to Me. I never really watched that show, but I know that he was the center, or The Mentalist, or like things of that nature. Sherlock, or I guess it was Sherlock Holmes at the time.
Yeah.
Like there's always this character at the center of these procedurals who is just basically the focus of the show, with some interesting characters, and there's always a mystery of the week kind of thing. Though I think that this is one of the best ones I've seen.
Yeah.
And the
excuse me.
The main arc of the first season revolves around a character basically breaking out of a high security prison
in Germany.
And trying to basically open a door to another universe.
Yeah.
And
spoilers.
Yeah, that's about as far as I'm going to go with that. But that is a broad overview. If that sounds like something you would enjoy watching, I can promise you it is even better than how I'm describing it.
Yeah. One thing I kind of compared this show to a little bit when I first watched it is the X-Files. And there are definitely some parallels there wherein they're both FBI agents. Both of them are investigating paranormal or unusual phenomenon. So if I had to give a comparison, it's in its tone, wherein X-Files is a lot more of a serious show, I would say, wherein Fringe can have a lot more fun. It's Treasure Island versus Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's weird also because one thing I know when we were watching it and we were talking about the X-Files, and I personally I've seen some X-Files and I think it's okay. I think it's a pretty good show.
The show holds up even all these years later.
But I do like Fringe better than X-Files.
I can agree.
For two reasons. One, because of that tone that you mentioned before. I do like the tone of this show a little bit better. It's more fun. And even though it is still not as serious as X-Files, it is definitely as cerebral as X-Files. It is not a show for stupid people. But it's a show that everybody can kind of, I think, jump in and enjoy for the most part. And two, the big difference is in the characters. So I guess we'll segue into that.
100%.
Because in the X-Files, Mulder is a believer and Scully is more of a skeptic.
But both are kind of dry they're both dry characters, and they have to be because it's a more serious drama about FBI and as an FBI show. I know Mulder can probably get more eccentric from time to time, but a fairly dry interpretation of that genre.
And this one is there really are no skeptics. It's not like everyone's sitting there like, I've yet to see a weird Fringe thing, any weird Fringe science.
Like there isn't a Dana Scully somehow Mr. Magooing her way through all the phenomena.
And oh, by the way, I probably should mention this is a show created by J.J. Abrams, and there's a lot of episodes written by him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one I don't want to spoil it too much, but the one that I said was probably before a hiatus when they broke the guy out of.
Okay.
Like a lot of the big episodes, I noticed have like writing credits to J.J. Abrams.
And this is probably his post. No, he was probably in the middle of Lost.
Yeah, this was in the middle, and that's a funny thing because I don't like Lost. I bought the first season, I watched a little bit of the first season, and I didn't like it. And I know we've talked about this before personally, but I couldn't get into Lost because I didn't like any of the characters, and I didn't like the flashbacks because I didn't like any of the characters, and that's 90% of the show right there.
Yeah, I can get behind the characters. Like the characters were not that great, and the flashbacks 100% interrupted the flow of the show.
Mm-hmm. If they didn't have a lot of the flashbacks, I probably would have liked the show a lot more because I did enjoy the mysteries of the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It had a lot of intrigue, but it definitely I didn't give a shit about who these people were before they were on the island because that's not who gives a shit that this guy was a doctor?
Yeah, or what? Oh, look at Locke. What a what did he? What was
loser
he?
He was.
What was he like before he was interesting?
Oh, a janitor probably.
Oh, so
I don't remember.
I think he was in a wheelchair.
Oh, that's right. He was in a wheelchair.
Don't tell me what I can't do. But
but that's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah. So we're not going to talk about the first season of Lost. But this is a good segue to talk about some of the characters on Fringe. And I will say that obviously the center of the show, the main attraction is Dr. Walter Bishop. The
single best character in the show, and probably one of my favorite written characters on television in general. I can't think of, I can't think of many characters that I would put above him. Just in general, from television. I think that he is... I remember watching the first episode. He is a very... to give a quick rundown of who he is, he's an eccentric, brilliant scientist who's just spent 17 years basically being locked away from the rest of the world. And he's a little bit out of touch. He's a little bit... he has a lot of memory problems. He has a lot of... he's like the absent... He's like a tortured, absent-minded professor. And he'll be in the middle of his experiments, and he almost goes through... And what I like about him is he goes through these experiments that he's doing, especially the stranger and odd ones where he's dissecting people and pulling out bugs and stuff. And he does it with this giddiness because it's about the thrill of discovery to him. Yeah. Oh, what is this? And just his interaction with different characters is always a fun thing to see because he's just a man that is, left to his devices would eventually, observe something until it's broken. I feel that I said when I was watching the first episode, I was like, I know this guy's portrayed to be eccentric and a bit silly, but I remember telling you, this man is probably the most dangerous man on this entire show. Well, he was in St. Clair's mental facility because during an experiment he killed a person. And I just think that he is the type of person who would detonate a doomsday device just to see what the results would be. And he joins Agent Olivia Dunham's team on the condition that his son Peter is always chaperoning him. Yeah. At first, him and Peter have kind of a contentious relationship. Yeah. Peter doesn't want anything to do with him because he was a very absent father, and but Walter just kind of wants to reconnect with his son. Yeah. But at the same time, he kind of wants to keep on doing his the research and everything. And they really do form a good bond. They do, and Peter is the big purpose for his character is usually to translate the odd machinations that goes on in Walter's head. He's also kind of one of those the guy who can get you anything. Before he was a liaison to the FBI,
he was like this con man, basically, going around the world, pulling off different schemes and everything. But he's also a brilliant person in his own right.
Yeah.
And like I said, they form a pretty decent pair. Now, there's also, and we've talked about Agent Broyles, and the main character of the show is technically Olivia Dunham.
Yeah.
And although she is not, she's more of the straight man of the entire show.
Yeah, she represents like the everyman. Like everything is explained to her in a way that the audience is meant to interpret.
But at the same time, she's also an FBI agent, so when she has to get tough sometimes. She's a highly capable FBI agent, and she's borderline obsessive when she's on a case.
Yeah.
But I think that despite the fact that Walter is the key of the show, she is the most important character because the show doesn't work without her.
Yeah,
you have to
100%.
have a character like that on there. It's kind of like the Leslie Knope syndrome from Parks and Rec. Leslie Knope is the main character on Parks and Rec. She's the least interesting character on Parks and Rec, but the show doesn't work without Leslie Knope. Same thing, I guess, with Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's the straight man, funny man syndrome, where you need the straight man in order for the funny man to work, and it kind of works on the same level with a procedural where you have the highly eccentric scientist and the person who needs to interpret all that information.
Yeah,
that person also being the audience.
So Olivia, despite the fact that she's not as eccentric as everybody else, she really has there's a reason she's front and center.
Yeah.
Why the show is really about her.
And, despite what we're saying, she is also a very interesting character herself.
Yeah, I like Olivia.
And she has a lot of quirks and a lot of not quirks, but a lot of details of her character that flourish throughout the season.
Actually, probably my favorite moment of the first season, except for the last shot. But my favorite moment of the first season involves her when I'll just say this much, she's trying to disarm a bomb, and the only way to do it, and the bomb is made up entirely basically of lights.
Yeah.
And she has to find a way to disarm it. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but that is probably... Her disarming that bomb is probably my favorite part of the entire first season, except for, like I said, the very last moment.
Yeah, that was... But, I remember one... What was that?
Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead.
No.
No, I was probably going to go off into a tangent.
All right. Well, I was too, so...
I was just going to say, I know one thing, we would all, as we watch the show, is one thing we would do is talk about like a kind of spin-off show if Agent Broyles and Walter Bishop were partners.
Yeah, they were like a two-man, like straight man, funny man kind of thing. Actually,
it would be the perfect straight man, funny man too.
Because there was no one who was more of a straight man than Agent Broyles, and there's no one who was more like eccentric and not a straight man than Walter Bishop.
Man.
But I was gonna do like this man here. It looks like that there's lipstick on this cigarette.
Ooh, what flavor of lipstick is it, Agent Broyles?
Let's see. Judging by the color and texture, I believe it's some sort of strawberry.
I am getting more radish.
Were you, did you remember that Lady Direly had red lipstick on at the party?
Ooh, yes. Fantastic breasts on her. Exquisite. Very phenomenal specimen she was.
I think that she was one who killed her husband. And look at this. We have another clue. Look, it's a partially melted ice cube sliver from her drink. She was drinking a Bloody Mary.
Ah, but if you look at the ice cube, it's in the middle of a phase transition. The phase transition from liquid to solid, but it was also solidified under high pressure, which is why the ice crystals aligned to make a clear ice cube, Agent Broyles.
And look at this. It is a insurance policy written out in her name, leaving everything to her if her husband died. I think we have enough to make a case.
Let me see that. That was made from an acacia tree pulp. It only indigenous to the Midwest.
Yes. So yeah, it's basically the greatest straight man, funny man, like combination you could have. It would be a cop show so far removed from reality that it would almost be a parody of cop shows.
It would, but it would be such a great watch.
I would watch the hell out of that. Actually, I would want it to be I'd like it to be almost a Columbo show, like, you know, where the first half hour is just the crime being committed, and then the second hour, here comes, you know, Broyles and Walter Bishop to do their thing.
And I want it to be like, you know, not fantastical crimes either, just a standard whodunit murder mystery, and and these two, you know, Agent Broyles going through the standard procedure as to gathering evidence, and Walter Bishop.
Oh, you can call me Agent, yes.
Walter Bishop finding clues that have almost no bearing on the case until it all wraps up in the end.
It's like it's almost Sherlock Holmesian, where he's like, you know, he's kind of, you know, dissecting cigar ash and seeing what cigar it came from.
Or beating bodies to see how long it takes to bruise after death.
So, there's a few, I guess, secondary characters that I feel that we should probably talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Two in particular.
Yeah.
You can go with the first one. I think you're already starting to say him.
Charlie.
Charlie's great.
Yeah, he's, I think he was... Was he Olivia's first partner?
Yeah,
and you know, before the show started.
And it's funny because he's not really involved in Fringe Division. He's just more of a FBI agent that's, you know, at the ready.
He's a good resource for Olivia,
and he most of the time he's not even involved in half the shit. Like, I remember there was an episode, like, in the middle of the season where something happens and he's there, and I'm like, this man probably has no fucking idea what's going on.
Well, I think his main purpose, initially, at least in the first season, was to serve as the show's skeptic. Yeah. To kind of center Agent Dunham.
But, like, you know, it doesn't really work too much when he's got worms crawling around.
Yeah. Oh, those worms. Those stomach worms.
Oh, that was terrifying. And then we have Astrid Farnsworth.
Good news, everyone.
She has a very raspy old man voice, apparently.
Yeah.
No, she's another FBI agent who's basically there to just clean up all of Walter's messes.
Pretty much Walter's assistant. And kind of in my opinion, an underutilized character.
Like, she is just there to basically complain about all the stuff she has to do, or she is the doubting Thomas almost. Like, she is a person who complains about this stuff. Like, you can't hook that man up to an electric chair and kill him. But you see, if I use maybe go ahead. A current that is maybe slightly lower amperage, we would merely only paralyze him for life, and we could see the results of the tests.
If I dose him with LSD, he'll only experience ego death rather than physical death.
It's like, you know, so she is basically there to say, you can't do that. Okay, then I'll do this. And then she mops up the blood, and that is her job. And then he just beats her around. Or not beats her, but berates her.
Yeah, and always mispronounces her name.
Yeah, like I think he has such a huge crush on her that he pretends that she doesn't exist. So,
probably.
So, you know, to kind of help himself.
I think Walter's actually a ladies' man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think... Like, he often he'll put on the persona of the aloof, kind of goofy guy, and then he'll go to the bar after Peter's asleep. And
I like to think that he sits at the bar with maybe, like, a cigarette or a cherry or something, and does, like, tricks with him. Watch this. Now, like, because I don't want him to be smooth and suave as in, hey there, dame, you want to hamstray out of here and maybe have a little bit of a necking in the woods?
I imagine like it's when he enters the scene, it is this he's dressed to the nines and he has the cigarette and almost like the pencil mustache and he's and he's like entering the bar and like there's this smooth jazz in the background.
See, I like,
and then he walks up to a lady. Ethyl alcohol, it constricts the capillaries, you see, and then just.
I imagine that when he does his when he actually goes up to the ladies and starts talking to them, I imagine there's almost a bit of, I don't want to say trickery, like it's almost like he uses science as a trick, almost like I see that you're smoking a cigarette. Mm-hmm. Now, watch this. Watch when he takes a cigarette and he takes it all the way down to the ash and he's like, and I can make, or I bet you I can make a knot of ash. Tie ash into a knot. And the girl's like, okay, let's see you do it. And then he'll do the trick, like he'll tie a rope into a knot and then light it on fire instantly, and it burns down to ash. And he's like, see, there, I tied a knot into the ash. My name is Walter Bishop, by the way, Dr. Walter Bishop, and that's his in. Like, he does, like, science tricks.
Yeah. Let me see your hand. All right. Oh, it's okay. So if I press here, there should be a nerve ending, and you should be experiencing extreme arousal.
Oh, I can't believe it. So, let me buy you a drink, and maybe I can show you some more pressure points. It's like, wow, he's getting laid 6 ways to Sunday, and Peter's jealous.
It's just that's why he's always so bitter about him. Even that was the big falling out he had as a kid. Like he would always steal his girlfriends.
You're Peter's love interest from college, I hear. I hear you guys are both in the physics program together.
Oh, yes, we are.
Shut up. Have you, now let me tell you a little bit about physics. Yes. Have you ever seen a match like this right here? Mm-hmm. Regular match.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a match burn twice?
No.
See that? That is the first burning. Oh, Walter, what are you doing? That's Peter. Walter, what are you doing? Wait, hold on a second. So you can see that the match is burned once. Yes?
Yes.
All right, now watch this. Ow! Walter! Ha! It burned him the second time, you see? Yes. Let me buy you a drink.
As soon as he did that laugh, I imagine he's trying to seduce its Pat.
Oh, gosh. Okay, I am going to leave you two alone now.
There are even limits Walter cannot surpass.
Even with the LSD that I'm taking right now, you see, I cannot see past that left.
There are certain realities that are meant to be avoided.
Think of it like synesthesia. When people experience synesthesia, usually they are seeing a representation of the sounds that they hear, mostly of the time through colors and shapes. But when I see your laugh, all I can see is its Pat, and I can't see beyond that.
And it also induces a smell in my brain as well of stinky socks.
It is a smell of sulfur and raw sewage.
You are literally offensive to all the senses.
So, I shall leave you two alone, and I shall retire to my room. Peter, if you need a condom, which you shouldn't, if you need a condom, we keep them in the drawer next to the fishing wire.
Though I will commence my retirement after I regurgitate my meal from disgust.
Peter, if you will be a darling, could you order me a pizza, because I suspect in half an hour I will be hungry again after I evacuate my stomach and my bowels. So yeah, that's Astrid. And there's one last character I want to talk about. before we get into basically
I know who you're talking about.
Nina Sharp.
I thought you were going to go into the guy who was breaking out.
Oh no, we can save that. I guess the villainous character. We can save him because he's kind of a tertiary character.
Yeah.
He's very good. Everyone is very good on the show, and that's something I'm going to talk about when I talk about Nina. Is Nina Sharp runs for all intents and purposes. She is their main go-to, the FBI's main go-to for a company called Massive Dynamic, which is owned by Walter Bishop's former science
colleague.
Colleague. And 17 years later, his partner Bell, he kind of disappears, and Walter Bishop is in a mental institution, so they kind of go their separate ways. And Massive Dynamic is, for all intents and purposes, the bad guys, kind of.
Yeah, they're kind of like a large, Apple corporate, like Apple or Mac, not Macintosh, Apple,
Apple,
corporation,
Amazon, but they every time there is a bad science going on, they are usually at the center of it somehow.
Yeah, they always have some data on it somehow.
They're very sneaky and suspicious.
Yeah. But they're also a good partner and resource. They're and Nina Sharp is neither a ally nor an enemy.
Yeah, she's like the frenemy, and I really like the relationship between Nina Sharp and Olivia Dunham.
Yeah,
because it's a relationship where neither person trusts the other, but they respect each other enough to, they never lie to each other.
No.
They will sometimes withhold the truth, okay, I'm not going to tell them this, but, they've never out and out lied to each other.
And a lot, I almost want to say, it's not quite the perfect analogy, but I would almost say the relationship between Dunham and Nina Sharp is almost Faustian in nature.
Yeah, almost, you kind of, because there are times when she's had to give up something that the FBI didn't want to give up, to get this information.
And Peter has had to do the same as well.
Mm-hmm. And Nina's always trying to recruit her to their side because, again, there's that mutual respect to them. There's a mutual respect between Nina Sharp and Agent Broyles, because every now and again they come under fire, but you also know that she's also a dangerous character. She knows a lot more than she's telling.
Yeah.
But you kind of expect that,
and you'll definitely find that out at the end of the season as well.
Yeah. But again, she's always there to help out just enough. And overall, I love the characters on this show, and that's what I think drives it forward. Is the premise is very interesting. There's always a lot of neat scenes and sequences.
It is the perfect balance, rather, of character-driven storylines and plot-driven storylines, because they walk the line perfectly between the two.
The chemistry of the cast is just undeniable. I never watched the show when it was new because I didn't really think that Joshua Jackson was going to be very good in it, because the only thing I'd seen him in before that was Dawson's Creek.
Oh, he was a dreamboat.
I know, he was a dreamboat, but I didn't know anything about him except for Dawson's Creek, so I was just they were, I think Fox was really hey, remember Dawson's Creek? You might like this guy from it. I don't think they said that, but it was basically what I saw. So I was but he plays such a damn good character, and he does him great. That it's man, the chemistry between him and everybody, but him and Walter is top notch.
Yep.
Every character plays well off each other. Like I said, Walter and Olivia do well. Olivia and Nina Sharp is probably one of the better duos.
Dynamic. Yeah.
And also Olivia Dunham and Agent Broyles is very interesting too. And then Broyles with Peter is a good dynamic.
Yep.
It's even funny to see, as we discussed before, Peter and Walter Bishop get those two
Broyles
together.
and
Walter Bishop. Yeah, Broyles and Walter Bishop together. Yeah, the original Odd Couple.
Yeah, there is no character in the show I would say is wasted.
Yeah.
There was a lot of there's sometimes in a show or in a movie that you would go like, oh, I wish they had more of that character, or I wish they would expand upon them. And aside from maybe a few minor things, this show really utilizes their characters to the fullest potential without overstaying its welcome.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like there's a whole episode where you're just like, I'm getting tired of your shtick there, Walter. It's like I think that the good thing is that there's maybe 3 really main characters, which is Olivia, Walter Bishop, and Peter Bishop. Like, for all intents and purposes, those are the main characters, and they are great, and they're very easy to understand characters, but they do have a lot of depth to them. Mm-hmm. And then your secondary characters with your Charlie, your Astrid, your Nina Sharp, your Agent Broyles, they also have a lot of depth, but they're all different from one another, but they're just different enough, you know what I mean? There's really, like I said, there's really no dynamic that doesn't work. And then, of course, you got your tertiary characters, your intrigue, and all that stuff that just irradiates out. So everything revolves, as far as I'm concerned, around the characters and goes outward, and everything, works because of that.
100%. And I cannot think of a show that really comes close to that dynamic. I would say House, with the dynamic of the
House has good characters.
Yeah, it has good characters that work pretty well together. Though, for the most part, it's almost competitive.
Yeah. If I compare those two shows, like, it's tough for me because I really liked Fringe.
Yeah.
I really liked House. I think they trigger 2 different things in my brain. Like, I liked, if I just consider first season for both of them, I think they're both very similar, but there was, the things that I liked about House were like the mysteries more than anything else.
Yeah.
And the first season had a lot of really good mysteries to it. And they always had an answer that was like, oh, that makes sense, I get it.
Yeah.
And Fringe kind of does the same thing, but I guess it's a choice between... House had basically a whole season of little mysteries that at the end I was satisfied, like, oh, I like that. Fringe, I didn't get that mystery sensation as much, so it was lessened throughout the show.
Yeah.
But the big things that happened, I felt more than in House, if that makes sense. The little things worked better in House every episode. The bigger things, maybe every 6 episodes, were bigger to me. And I don't know which one I wanted. Consistently low to mid, good feelings, or sporadically or periodically great feelings.
Yeah, I could say, like, I would say House was definitely a more consistent show than Fringe in terms of what to expect. Wherein Fringe always has like every couple episodes a series of pretty big and shocking reveals,
and those are always usually the big ones, and you can tell that they probably like, all right, we have maybe 6 or 8 big episodes, and in between we have the bridges.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the bridges were bad, because there was really no bad episode of the first season. Mm-hmm. Like, every episode worked, and I felt good, and I enjoyed every episode that I saw. Mm-hmm. Like I said, to me it was like, would you rather have 30 days of like just positively good things, like just little good things that happen, like maybe we'll do it for money. Would you rather have 30 days of like, oh, I found $10, oh, I found $10, oh, I found $10, or would you rather have, like, all right, maybe you stay consistent for most of those 30 days, but every 10 days, like, oh, I get $100, oh, I get $100, oh, I got $100. Like, in the end, maybe the values are equal, but which of these, experiences would you rather have?
Yeah, probably, for me personally, the latter.
The $100?
Yeah.
I think I might do that, because I like bigger feelings better than consistently, lesser feelings and good feelings. And I guess we're talking about the overall thing of the show now, which is what I was going to want to talk about anyway. And I think it's kind of funny to think that I put this on. We came home from like some I think like game night with your sister or something like that, and I was like, I just want to watch something before I go to bed, and I put on the first episode of Fringe because again I know you'd watched it, so you know you had it, and I put it on. I was like, wow, I was excited after watching the first episode. It was a 2-hour first episode, or I guess hour and a half. But it was a longer episode, but I really liked what they did, even though like they were just setting it up. And I liked all the the way that they were doing the mysteries and everything. Like, oh, this is the pattern. Like they set the groundwork, and I was like, you know what? I think I like it enough to continue watching it. And then man, that was only like a month ago, and I think we barreled through that first season.
It's a solid first season, and they did set up the show very well in the first episode for anyone who was just tuning in out of curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you go into the first episode saying I don't know what to expect, and you put it on, it'll tell you exactly what the show's about, and it'll give you a reason to want to keep on watching it. Yeah. And go ahead.
Well, I was gonna go off on a tangent, but I was thinking about the dynamic that would occur between Walter Bishop and House. Because first off, I would imagine that House would just absolutely hate him.
Yeah.
Because first off, House hates everyone.
Yeah. And then I think they would swap drugs together.
Oh yeah.
Oh, are you taking Vicodin?
Yeah, I'm taking a Vicodin. I can't do a Hugh Laurie American accent.
Yes, I'm taking Vicodin. I guess without it, my life would be in complete misery. So.
Oh, you need to take this. Let's see, salvia. It'll bring you through another realm, and pain will seem abstract to you when you return.
Abstract pain, huh? Well, I guess I'll tell my my physical therapist that my pain should be lessened from severe to abstract. All right, give me the damn salvia. Why always with the fight? This is my Zoidberg. Why always with the fighting?
Oh man, I Walter Bishop would be so eager to dissect Zoidberg, and Zoidberg would be fine with it. Please, I have 5.
Oh, now, tell me, what is your hypothalamus like? Is it like a human's hypothalamus, or do you have some kind of weird squid portion of your brain?
I replaced my hypothalamus with an ink sac when I was 12.
That is truly fascinating. What kind of ink sac?
The ink type? I don't know.
Would you mind if I could just crack that little bugger open and take a quick sample?
What's in it for Zoidberg?
Oh, let me tell you about a sandwich that I once had. Maybe if you give me that ink, I can remember the ingredients to it. Now, let's see. I know... We started with 2 slices of bread, and it had to be rye bread. It couldn't be...
Rye bread? A rich man you are.
Oh, no. This is the very poorest rye bread that you can get. Look, I've got this whole loaf, you see, at the local farmer's market for just $1.50.
$1.50?
A millionaire salary. And, what are you doing to my Zoidberg?
It's the professor. He'll hit me again. I must scuttle away.
Get back here! That's him hitting him.
Zoidberg. It seems like a lot of my favorite characters are scientific in nature and also a bit goof.
But
bit of a goof.
The weird thing is, like, Walter Bishop is great because he's eccentric, but he's brilliant, and you do like to watch him work. Yeah. You like to see that light in his eyes, that fire, as he's doing an experiment.
He is so excited to be a part of it.
He's like a child first, like, discovering ice cream. Now, Zoidberg, on the other hand, from Futurama, is not. He's the opposite.
He's downtrodden.
He's just pathetic, and there's something almost charming about his patheticness.
Yeah. Like he he's working so hard just to be appreciated.
He is always like, you know what? But I think there's a common theme for him because even though Zoidberg is always, like you said, downtrodden, always working hard and always poor and always miserable or always pathetic, like he still has a lust for life.
Yeah, he still wants to be a doctor even though he's bad at it. Like
he any little thing that happens, he is excited by.
Oh yeah, like any part of life that is not further down the toilet is a positive experience
and
for
it
him.
Makes him so excited. Like,
oh, there's some cheese at the bottom of the can.
And one time, a pepperoni. Oh, that was a good day for Zoidberg. Or even the thought of good things, like when he breaks a bottle. Oh, but if I fix it, maybe presents for Zoidberg.
The box says no.
So the idea that there's like these two characters are like very far removed. They both have a zeal for life that that cannot be stopped.
Yeah, that would be. I would watch the hell out of that show as well. Like just Dr. Zoidberg and Walter Bishop trying to figure things out with Walter Bishop occasionally getting angry at Zoidberg and hitting him for messing up his lab.
Like imagine everything that Zoidberg does in the trying to solve everything is ink related. Like he's or screaming related.
Yeah, or
like,
Scuttle.
Yeah, like I imagine he's trying to dissect him. Like now we can finally get to the brain. The brain. Get out of here, you cowardly lobster!
Oh, we eat our own brains when we become coral. When we enter our coral phase.
So let me taste this man's brain and see if he entered coral phase. Maybe I need a little bit more of the brain.
Maybe a second taste to be sure.
Get out of here! Get out of here! You're ruining the whole experiment.
Get out of here, you lobster!
Okay, I'll go into the chief's office.
I'll go back to my cage.
Yes, I would love... So basically, any combination of Walter Bishop and anybody, or Zoidberg and anybody, I think would be a good combination.
Oh my god, Agent Broyles and Zoidberg?
Yeah.
So you're an alien, and you're a lobster from space.
I know you are, but what am I? Oh, Zoidberg still has the funny. He can bring the funny when he needs it.
I'm going to need you to submit a report and get your clearance situated in order for you to work on my team.
How do I fill out this report? Do I get to use these tasty papers?
Ooh, what a pen. Can I keep the pen?
Yes, you can. Keep the pen all you want, Agent Zoidberg. We have millions of them.
Can I have another pen?
What happened to your first pen, Agent Zoidberg?
I ate it.
I feel if I give you another pen that you're just going to continue eating these pens. So first season of Fringe.
Very well done. I think as first seasons go, it of any show, it really hits a home run.
Yeah.
And if you like the X-Files, if you like science, and you like eccentric characters, and a show that's both fun at times and serious at times, I would give it a try. It's well worth the watch. It's
a show that I highly recommend. If again, like Britton said, like if science fiction shows are kind of your cup of tea, this is definitely going to be something that you would enjoy, especially if you kind of have like a flair for adventure.
Yeah.
The characters are great. The storyline is, for the most part, very consistently good and sometimes great. And there's a lot of little moments that will really kind of draw you in. So I think that there's really nothing more I could have asked for in a first season of a television show. So take a look, check it out. We're continuing on the second season. We might do a podcast when we finish that up. And if you like Fringe, just drop a comment or something. Tell us how you like the show.
Yes.
If you don't like Fringe, then tell us how you liked our podcast instead.
Or what you don't like about the show.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just make sure to address it and say why you were wrong.
And ban you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for that. So take it easy, everybody.
Toodaloo.
That'll little SOBs.